and welcome to episode 409 of Conversation Street, the early bird special about the big C.
What? Cancer?
No, we already did that back in episode 7 or something, didn't we?
We did.
Start as you mean to go on.
Yes. What are we doing, Gemma? We're talking about the coronavirus today. COVID-19.
Yeah. We tried to avoid talking about it because it's too depressing, but it seems as though
It's not going away just yet.
There's not really any opportunity to pretend this isn't happening, otherwise I'd definitely take it.
Yeah, me too. We're going to have this is a special standalone episode all about all the nastiness that's going on at the moment because we can't not talk about it because it's obviously affecting Coronation Street.
And now, that's it. That's the final straw.
Yeah, exactly.
Mess with Coronation Street, and we have to. I mean, I remember back, maybe it was January, when I was complaining. I don't even know if I made a stupid tweet about it, going, "Can't wait for this to be over because it's messing up my hashtags." Because every time you try to put in hashtag Coronation Street, you have to go through all the coronavirus stuff. And I thought this will be over in like a month.
Yeah, but now I think coronavirus is actually trending higher than Coronation Street quite consistently.
Yeah.
So we don't really want to have to go on about it loads in normal podcast episodes.
I really want to not talk about it in the normal podcast. I want this to be separate so that if you don't want to hear this or talk or think about it, it's all in one space, in one place, so that you can just not listen.
Yes, please do not listen to this.
If it's going to stress you out
and make you more upset.
Nobody really wants to hear about it anymore. But we've got to talk about it, and we're going to do it in our usual light-hearted and irreverent way, not because it's not a serious situation, because it is, but because I'm sure that you will all agree that we can't handle any more serious, po-faced, miserable news about horrible things happening that are completely out of our control.
And depending on how things go with this virus and how quickly it's treated or how long we have to last or whatever, we may well need to talk about it in a later episode of the normal podcast.
It will come up, I'm sure, but we're going to try to stave it off as much as we can because we want the podcast to just be an escape and a nice place that you can come and relax and listen to stupid idiots talking about things that don't really matter.
I'm a teacher. I'm a key worker, Gemma.
I know.
do you want to? I don't know whether before we talk about Coronation Street, whether anybody might be wondering how it's affecting us so far. I'm sure a lot of people don't care. I don't blame you at all.
Your notes for this section makes me think that you've got some kind of coronavirus of the brain. You've written, "How has it / is it / will it affect us?"
How has it affected us?
I know, but it sounds like, how has it?
I'm covering all the tenses.
Know. Is it? Don't know. Will it affect us? Yes.
So far, basically, we're both okay. Neither of us have got it.
I've got a blocked up nose, which you can probably hear.
But that's not a symptom.
I think I've got a cold.
It's okay.
And I've got achy ribs, and I've got a chesty thing.
But I'm
okay. And I had the thermometer arrived today.
Oh, did you?
The thermometer arrived today.
Yeah.
The answer is, did it?
Did it?
Yes, it
You
did.
had it. Well,
and my temperature's fine.
Good. So we're not ill. But who knows how long that'll last? Hopefully forever.
Michael's worried about getting it.
I'm a massive hypochondriac about everything.
Because he is not going to become sick from this. If anyone is going to be fine, it's Michael, because he's healthy. He doesn't have asthma like I do. He's not fat like I am.
You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay because the universe wouldn't make it so that I couldn't have my tea.
I told you, you're going to have to start learning to cook for yourself.
Basically, I've spent all of today, it's Thursday today, we'll probably upload this after we've done it, to be honest, but I've spent all of today in a meeting in my school trying to sort out the mess.
Michael's a primary school teacher in England.
And we've all been told by old Bojo yesterday that the schools are closed, but not really, because the children of key workers get to go into school and still carry on that learning, which I completely see is very, very important.
This is like a historical record, that this historians might listen to this in the future. Hello.
I know.
Hope we made it through.
So we're just trying to figure out at school at the moment how this is going to work. And I was in a meeting all day with other senior leaders at my school, putting plans together that we can tell and the children and the parents, and we were waiting for more information from the government, which they said would come today but didn't. So we know what we're doing as best we can.
At the moment, if you're not a teacher, you don't know a teacher, and you probably don't know what's going on, just like everybody else. Basically, the government's just said schools are closed, apart from for children of key workers, and they haven't said what does that mean, and how do you define what a key worker is?
And do both parents need to be key workers, or just one
Who's
parent?
in charge of working out which children are allowed to go to school and which children aren't? And how are teachers supposed to provide education for the students who are in or out of school? So I think it seems to me that every school is doing their own thing.
We are at the moment, and maybe we shall receive our orders from on high tomorrow. Who knows? But yeah, we've got something sorted at our school, so we're
and also,
okay.
if you're the sort of person who's inclined to think that teachers don't do anything as it is, and now see this as an opportunity for them to basically do nothing and get paid for it, that is not what's going on.
No.
Definitely not. It's
Definitely
very,
no.
very stressful. And everybody's stressed at the moment.
What about you? Is your work still going on at the moment, isn't
I'm
it?
trying to just be as normal as I can, but just like anybody else who is in a situation where their job is not particularly important and relies on other people having money and wanting to spend it on frivolous things, I'm incredibly worried. If you want to buy a magazine, that's a really good one. Also, we've got our Patreon. If you want to support us, you can be a Patreon, but we must stress, look after yourself first.
Gosh, yes.
Because it will be fine no matter what happens. If we have to podcast from a tent, we'll still be doing it. So look after yourself first, as always.
Yes. We'll be okay.
And support, and we thank everybody for their support.
Of course.
Even if it can't be a Patreon.
We'll be okay, but what about Coronation Street? 'Cause that's what people are tuned into this to listen for. It's not like we've got the magic wand or the answers or anything, but there's been lots of news going out at the moment, so coming out recently. So we kind of talk about all that together and look ahead about how it could affect Coronation Street and what it may look like in the future.
Right, so
little theories. What's the news, Gemma? What's the headlines?
So far is that from the 30th of March, that's Monday the 30th of March, there will be one episode of Coronation Street shown on Monday, Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
So instead of having 2 episodes 3 times a week, we've got 1 episode 3 times a week. So 3 episodes total, half an hour long each.
Yeah, so they're cutting it down. The thing is, they've filmed a certain amount of time in advance, so what we'll be watching 1 week's worth of episodes over the course of 2 weeks.
Yeah, so
basically.
they've given themselves a bank of in reserve, basically, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean they film 8 weeks or so in advance, as far as I know, which so 8 times 6, they have 48 episodes in the can, roughly. I don't know how much it works like that. I'm just doing kind of estimating maths here at the moment. So 48 episodes roughly are done, or in production, shall we say. Divide that by 3 for 3 a week, so that gives us about 16 weeks worth of Coronation Street, which takes us to the end of June. They're still going with their filming at the moment. So I mean, if Coronation Street were to shut down production at some point in the next few weeks, which I'm guessing could certainly be possible because EastEnders has done that, they've stopped filming this week, we've got enough to keep us going into early summer at least. Emmerdale, I don't know how far in advance they film, but they've still got 5 episodes a week. They're just down from 2. I think there's usually 2 episodes on Thursdays, but now it's still Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 7 p.m. So yeah, a little bit more to expect from the Dales if you're fans of that. I think Hollyoaks has gone to 3 episodes a week. So the soaps are still going. Just for how long, who knows? And about that, Coronation Street, or ITV, have said that the continued transmission of both soaps, so Emmerdale and Corrie, is a priority to all of us of ITV and to our audiences who enjoy the shows. Whilst carefully adhering to the latest health advice from the government and Public Health England, our production teams are continuing to film episodes in Manchester and Leeds. With this change of transmission pattern, it'll ensure we have great new soap episodes coming to air every weekday night until at least the early summer.
I also need to point out something here too, which might not be obvious to people who don't know a lot about the UK, listening from Canada or America, or haven't thought about this, but England, Scotland and Wales are all governed separately for certain instances. So Scotland closed their schools down before England did. I think Wales did too.
No, I think they just announced it. I think we're all closing down at the same time.
Well, my point stands. When Boris Johnson does his what they're called.
Addresses?
He's talking about England specifically because Scotland and Wales have their own separate things. So when he's saying Public Health England, the government of Public Health England, the spokesperson, that's why it's not Great Britain or the UK, because each health authority, I mean, even the NHS is different in Scotland, England and Wales.
I think it's worth pointing out there as well, they talk about adhering to the latest health advice, and that health advice is changing all the time.
Every day.
So whatever we're talking about at the moment, listen to this a couple of weeks time down the line and it could be completely out of date again. So Coronation Street, like everything else, is just waiting to see what happens, and
nobody knows.
Hopefully thinking about or taking the health and safety of its cast, crew, production team and everything as the number one priority. And as soon as, I guess, Coronation Street or ITV realise that or decide that it's not safe to film anymore and not healthy to film, that they won't. Obviously there's, I suppose with ITV compared to EastEnders, there is sadly the matter of the advertisers that have to be considered.
It's not. Well, look, we live in a capitalist society where we all earn money and we all have to go to work. We don't all get paid. Like, key workers are the people who have their income protected, and to a certain extent that's quite a privilege. Yeah, you have to work your asses off, and especially doctors and nurses and the like, on the front lines and putting their lives in danger. But then there are people who have been made redundant already and don't have a hope of getting money for months. But taking people's livelihoods away from them, it's not just the actors, it's all the behind the scenes people as well. What are they going to do if they don't have a job? It's all very well to come in and say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this because, it's frivolous, etc. But, art and entertainment is important in times like this. And I feel quite passionate about protecting people and their health and their livelihood to entertain people.
Yeah, I am happy
and you've got a balance.
I am happy that we'll have at least 3 episodes of Coronation Street to keep us going for the foreseeable future. And of course, more episodes would be good. And it's not like, people. So there are lots of people that say, well, Coronation Street should only be 3 episodes a week anyway. We're not going to notice any of that because what we're seeing has been filmed to fit into 6 episodes. It's going to feel weird. And
it's going to be like being in Canada.
It will be. We'll get part of the Canuck experience, I think, because like the end of the Monday episodes will end, and originally it was supposed to carry on after the break, and they'll talk about it being a different day and everything, and we'll be in April, and there'll be characters saying, "Oh, Happy May Day" or whatever. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. At least there'll be some Corrie we'll be getting.
And really, we all crave normalcy, and we don't want things to change. Human beings hate change. We like routines, and it's good that Coronation Street is going to continue. And it sounds stupid. I know it sounds stupid because things are serious. But like I said, it's a bit of comfort, isn't it?
A bit of distraction.
It's a bit of escapism.
Yeah. And it's good that it gives us something to podcast about as well, doesn't it? Because we're quite passionate about carrying this podcast on as much as we can. Obviously, if we fall ill with this, then we might have to take breaks here and there. I'm sure you're going to understand. I'll be down on my hospital bed, wheezing away.
Michael, you're such a drama queen.
In my bed. But yeah, this is gonna keep us ticking over, and we'll have the street talk section will be shorter. Some of you might be pleased to hear.
We're gonna try to carry on entertaining people because, sure to God, you must listen to this because you like it after all these episodes. Can't just be people that hate us still listening. We want, like Coronation Street, we want to entertain you and make you feel happy. That's what we do this for.
So other news that's come out, Coronation Street coronavirus news recently has been about the over 70s on the cast, because they're obviously in a at-risk group, and there hasn't been anything as of yet from the government saying you need to go into isolation. But the word is that they're going to be
rumours the whole
12
time
weeks.
That the government is going to impose isolation on people older. Don't forget, Michael, that not everyone has heard all the news that we have, because people might not be from the UK and not listen to UK specific things. So the rumour is that at some point the government is going to put all the old people, over 70 people, into enforced isolation.
Yeah.
But
And
that hasn't happened yet.
not yet, but apparently the on the Coronation Street cast, those cast members have already been sent home, is what the rumours say. Now that means it's William Roach, who's Ken, Malcolm Hebden, Norris, Sue Nichols.
Audrey.
This is the quiz, Gemma.
It is.
Farrah Nichols. No, Farrah Knox.
Rita.
David Nilsson.
Roy. Roy.
Not Ray. Ray isn't over 70. Rulenenska.
What's her name?
I just know Rulenenska. Evelyn. No, Claudia, I got it wrong. Maureen Lipman is Evelyn. Basically, there's a nice chunk of good old over 70s on the Coronation Street cast, all of whom are absolutely precious to the cast.
Oh, yeah.
And especially most recently in this week's Coronation Street cover, I'm really, really enjoying watching. So Coronation Street needs to...
You can just tell that Ian McLeod's kicking himself because we were like, everyone was like, oh, we want more, we want the older people to be in more of the centre of the soap, blah, blah. And he's done that. And then it's like, oh, well, now look what's happened.
Yeah, so
because really, that we were really getting into some meaty stories here with the older crowd.
I know, but I mean, don't forget, if this is going to keep us going until... late June or whatever, there's still, I mean, who knows where the Stillwater story is going to be, who knows where Evelyn and her new bloke are going to be. Hopefully they're not going to get to a stage where it literally stops, and Coronation Street does do that all the time, so I don't know how noticeable it'll be. Quite often stories will get to a certain point and then there's like, see you in 6 weeks. These characters aren't doing anything.
No, they're just in isolation.
Now, if anyone was wondering about the likes of Ian Bartholomew, Shelley King, they definitely fall under that category. I think Ian Bartholomew's in his mid-60s, and Helen Worth, I think, is 69. So, I mean,
right,
I'm sure...
So what?
I'm just saying,
what are you saying?
So even though she won't be going into enforced isolation, it wouldn't surprise me if Gail disappears off our screens for a little while as well.
Well, we don't know.
No, of course, yeah.
So when you've listed these people, these are
the Corrie over 70s.
Of the people that we know are over 70.
Yes.
And the spokesperson, we don't know whether this is true or not. I guess.
This is an actual Corrie spokesperson.
So they're adhering to guidelines, which I guess means just go home.
Yeah, basically, and when the guidelines come.
So the Sun has got a soap source, which is where you can say that this might not be true.
But I mean, this story's been doing the rounds as well this week, hasn't it?
Says any scenes with kissing or similar are being rewritten to make sure there is limited physical contact.
Yes, that seems sensible. That seems sensible, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, I like how it says kissing or similar. I don't know what it kind of means there. Is it no Eskimo nose rubbing? Is it
licking an ice cream?
Yeah. Is it chin knocking? Is it?
Don't know.
Standing
who within 1 meter of each other.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see that. So I mean, again, what they've got in the can already, we'll be seeing for a long time. So it'll be interesting to see come July, August. Will there be a noticeable lack of physical intimacy between cast members?
Do you know what? I'm going to say good, because I don't like the kissing and the hugging and all that stuff.
Save it until after 9 p.m.
Just leave each other alone. The office staff at Coronation Street are working from home, which we have seen from some of their social media accounts. This is not a secret.
No, Dan Archibald, who's the social media guy at Coronation Street, he put on his Instagram that he's working at home at the moment, and Ali Sinclair put out a tweet I saw the other day about working at home, in which she linked some of the other Corrie office ladies. There's Francesca, Rachel, who else is working there, I can't remember, and others. So it looks like, the offices at Coronation Street are pretty empty. And again, that makes sense as well, that we've been advised to work at home when we can.
Let's just make this state this for posterity and people who might not know that the government advice at the moment is, if you can avoid going into work, if you can work from home, you must do that. You shouldn't really go out anywhere that you don't need to be. You shouldn't go to pubs or clubs or restaurants. Lots of restaurants are closing.
No travelling abroad.
You definitely cannot travel abroad. The government has not imposed restrictions on people moving or going out of their houses as yet. They're not ruling that out in the future.
Well, other countries
you can still get up, get on the bus, go to work, go get a sandwich, come back, go home again, go to the go to Tesco, buy what you like, do what you like, go where you want at the moment,
But
unless
if
the
you're
places have
a-
voluntarily closed themselves, which quite a few have now.
Yeah, if you're a controlling husband and you're thinking of taking your new wife off to Cyprus to go and live, then
I'm afraid
probably
you
not a good
can't.
idea at the moment. That's all
No,
I'm saying.
so we're not being told to do anything particular. But if you're sick, the government advice is a bit confusing at the moment, because if you're ill, you're supposed to self-isolate and not leave your house for 7 days. But if a family member in your household is sick and you are not, you're supposed to stay inside for 14 days, which doesn't really make very much sense.
With the symptoms of COVID.
Yeah. Oh, no, not if you've got diarrhoea, you have to stay inside for 7 days. Yes, if you think you've got the symptoms, and the most important two the government tells us are running a fever or having a persistent dry cough.
Yeah. Speaking of self-isolating, there were rumours going around, I think, last week that a cast member came back from abroad somewhere and they chose to self-isolate for a bit.
Nobody knows who this is.
No, we don't know. No, I don't think it ever came out who that was, although I think the story then followed up saying that they were told, actually, no, you don't need to, it's fine. It looks like Alan Halsall might be self-isolating. He put up something on his Instagram with him and Tisha Murray, his girlfriend, and his daughter that he had with Lucy Jo Hudson, saying, "Oh, these are the people I want to go into quarantine with, or I've got all I need for a trip in quarantine." And it's not been completely
I don't
clear.
know. To me, that sounds like the sort of thing you'd say before it all got serious. Like, well, I don't mind if I have to because I've got everything I need.
Alan Halsall is has been very, very soppy over his social media ever since he's been starting dating Tisha. So
yeah,
you never know.
It's
that
the sort
one.
of thing I might say, like, look at all my wine. I can self-isolate for a month. You know
How
what
much
I mean?
wine would you need for a month?
A couple of boxes.
A couple of
I don't
cellars full. Katie McGlynn has been self-isolating for over a week now. I know she's not on Coronation Street anymore, but she's...
But we still love her.
Exactly. So she's just had to put those Hollywood plans on hold for a little bit longer. And also, if you are going over to Media City in the hope of getting some snaps or some autographs with the Corrie cast as they're leaving, they're certainly not letting that happen at the moment. There was an article in the Manchester Evening News a couple of days ago that showed some pictures. I think there was a picture of Ben Price and Ryan Prescott, Ryan Prescott of Conversation Street interview fame, leaving the set, and then behind them there's a little sign out that said, "Please note that due to advice from the..." Actually, it said advise. There was a spelling mistake. Terrible. Can't stop teaching.
You said that, but you've put 2 spelling mistakes in the rest of this.
Shut up. Due to advice from the health authorities, the cast are unable to stop for autographs and photographs. We're sorry for any inconvenience.
I bet there's quite a few of the more what's the word? What's the word where you don't like people? Where you're not outgoing.
Antisocial.
Not antisocial, but not...
Reclusive.
Introverted.
Introverted.
I bet a few of the more introverted members of the cast quite like that.
I know, so can we keep that sign out there, please?
Like, due to advice in general.
I really hope that the fans outside the gates are heeding that advice
They're
and leaving them alone, because I can imagine there might be some people who are like, well, we're going to go there anyway, and of course they'll stop for me. Please don't.
And to be fair, some of the cast are so lovely that they probably would stop.
I know.
And get themselves, in mortal peril from the what's it called, circumference of doom that we all carry around with us.
Yeah.
It's like meter halo of germs that we all carry.
Yeah, so that's kind of all we know that's going on at the moment. But yeah, I just imagine that there must be a lot of rewrites happening.
Oh dear.
Lots of, stories that were supposed to go one way or scenes that were supposed to go one way that now can't.
I wish I was a fly on the wall, even though they're not working from the office.
I know. It must be really, really stressful.
I know lots of stressful things.
Like you wake up one morning and it's like, quick, we need to have this scene rewritten for today.
Yeah. So-and-so can't come in because they're ill. Because really...
I don't know how you do it.
It's cold and flu season and you don't know, like, people aren't really getting tested for this. So you don't know if you've got it. And so, in theory, you could get somebody self-isolating 3 times.
Yeah.
For thinking they had COVID-19 and they've just got a cold.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and also, you can have it and not know. Everybody who's listening knows this. So, ugh.
Yeah.
What
very, very uncertain times. I mean, the fact that they haven't just said, no, we can't do this means that...
can't do what?
The fact that they haven't turned around and said let's just stop filming. It's too difficult to manage. I mean, we should. I guess that we should say well done to them for that and appreciate them for that.
I hope that people. This is the thing.
I'm sure there are some people who work there.
Well, look.
Who say, "Oh, that's just."
I wish I didn't have to come in, but you know, when you're a younger person, it feels like personally, I don't feel like if I get it, it's gonna finish me off. Like, there is a slim chance because of my pre-existing conditions that I've got, and it's more than just having asthma, that I could be in more danger. But at the same time, I don't want to change things or stop things from happening because life has to carry on.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice if we all, you know, all lived in a utopia where people don't have to earn money, but they do. But it's more than that. It's more than going into earning money. It's going into entertain people, and people that get into doing stuff like Coronation Street do it to entertain people, and it's part of who they are too. And if they weren't at work doing it, they'd be at home doing it.
I'm wondering as well, like what the cleaning routines and everything.
I think that they'd be heightened up. Like, even me, right? I've had people on social media being like, given the situation, do you really think it's appropriate? It's like, yeah, I do actually, because this is my job and this is what people want, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to apologise for trying to make people happy and in return asking that I be able to feed myself, you know?
Yeah. So the other
I don't think the cast so much has to worry about putting bread on the table, but there are people who work there who probably do have to worry about that.
Absolutely.
Let's have a bit of, you know, empathy.
Thinking about the show itself then, there's been a bit of talk about whether Coronation Street will mention coronavirus on the show, whether they should educate viewers about it. Coronation Street has historically shied away from talking about what's going on in the news at the moment, partly of course because they film so long in advance. If you're going to write something, rehearse it, film it, produce it and everything, it's out of date. And especially with something like this, anything that they say now is going to feel completely useless, and they just can't keep up with it, can they? The only way that they could keep up to date is if they're inserting scenes in, which EastEnders occasionally does with big events, you know, film one morning and it appears on air that night. And I don't know whether Coronation Street would do that, but what they can do at least is, as I said, educate the nation about ways that they can stay safe. John Whiston, who's the ITV Studios creative director, said the other day, because we script and shoot so far advanced, we don't generally reflect contemporary issues, like I just said. However, we are going to use the soaps to remind people of important public health issues, such as the need to wash their hands. We'll try to do more we'll try to do more messages going forwards.
That seems like a bit wishy-washy. Like,
I know.
It seems like someone made him say that, and he didn't really want to commit to himself to saying anything, because we don't need Coronation Street to tell us to wash.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I think everybody knows, and
people who know, the people who aren't doing it because they don't know. They're doing it because they're being selfish little gits.
Yeah, and I
know
being
it's stupid and ignorant.
I know it would be an issues based, well, not story even, is it? It's a thing that characters do. I think it would feel a bit too much like, weird. They're doing this to educate us. It would be too obvious. Even earlier this week, they had a scene where Yasmin came into the kitchen and washed her hands, and Jeff was like, "Make sure you sing Happy Birthday to yourself twice." We looked at each other like that, and when we saw that, we're like, what? Have they just added that in? Was that filmed? Because just
as
recently?
Everybody knows, that's been the thing that people have been told to do, to make sure that you wash your hands for 20 seconds. You have to sing Happy Birthday twice, and actually, that scene was written
way back at the beginning of the year, months ago, and filmed months ago. But it seemed to us, here's something they've added in, and
should have find out who wrote that.
And if they keep on doing that, it will take us out of it.
I think so.
I don't need Coronation Street to tell me to wash my hands when I come in, or to stand a certain amount of distance away from each other, and especially don't need it, going into May, June time when these were there if they wait until then to put it in.
The trouble is, this is such a fast-moving situation and so unpredictable that Coronation Street could depict something happening that doesn't happen or make something unrealistic.
Yeah. It might be interesting if they decide we're regularly going to insert newly filmed bits in, but to be honest, I just want Coronation Street as a bit of a break from the wall-to-wall corona thoughts that are going around my head all day. I want to switch off from it.
Let's be realistic and honest. This has been all anyone can think about for like a week or more now. You can't escape it. It's crushing, depressing, traumatic, life-changing.
It feels like we're in the middle of something like the biggest
thing that's happened since World War II.
Yeah.
It's inescapable and relentless. And Coronation Street, if they were to make it part of their show, would have to reflect that properly, and nothing could be done. Like, everything would have to revolve around Corona. And yeah, there are merits to doing that, definitely, because there are interesting human stories to tell. We're all experiencing things that we've never experienced before, and channeling, coping through watching other people go through that is one of the, what Coronation Street does. But at the same time, given how far in advance they write and record it, and how difficult it might become to do new scenes, is it going to make any sense for them to start doing stuff now?
No.
Given that we don't know where we're going to be in 2 months.
No, it had to be all or nothing.
Yeah, true.
And maybe they would, again, interesting if they could go back to, right at the very beginning of Coronation Street, every other episode was live, and the other one was filmed a few days before it broadcast. That'd be fascinating if they could do that, but they couldn't. Things don't work like that anymore.
Yeah, and the safety of the cast and everything.
So because they couldn't really reflect what's going on, I almost think it's not worth touching it, and I'd rather Weatherfield just continue to be a bubble where
nothing happens,
where that doesn't happen. And also every time that they do something at the moment that goes against what we've been advised to do, I'm thinking, I'm kind of making a joke about it in my head, like, Evelyn, move away from Arthur, you're going off to the pub, we've been advised against that. There's everybody would be talking about it. The pub would have not closed down. The pub would be emptier if there was Corona and Coronation Street. There'd be panic all over still waters as the over 70s 80s there would be worrying if they were safe. There'd be no more loo roll at the corner shop.
Well, they'd be trying to hawk it.
The Weatherfield County matches would have stopped. All of this, it's far too much for change. And like I said, it's an all or nothing situation. And I think we just have to suspend disbelief here and embrace Coronation Street as, a rest from it, like I said.
Yeah, the other thing also, the only thing I thought of is that that the only way they could do it is to get the actors, if they were at home, to film their own scenes and send it in, like self-tape, like sections of the show. But then the show would have to completely change because it would turn into like Skype conversations between people. That could be a really interesting way of telling a story. It couldn't be a way to tell a continuing drama because it's too weird and it's too different from how things normally go. It would make an interesting like one-off episode. But I don't know, like the unions, like this cameramen, would they let them do that? I don't even know whether they could film it themselves. But
I was interested. I'd be interested to see, like, will Coronation Street refer to coronavirus after it happens? As in, like, if we get to, autumn time and hopefully it's blown over, but who knows, will characters refer to coronavirus as if it happened?
Yeah.
Like somebody saying, oh, this is worse than what we had to go through in the summer, or do you remember when so-and-so had to self-isolate, or heaven forbid something like, oh, Uncle Stephen in Milan, Gail telling Bethany about how he was in lockdown or whatever. But that would be weird as well, because as viewers we were going, no, that didn't happen to you. So are they going to absolutely completely ignore it?
This is such a dilemma, really. I don't envy them at all, whatever they decide.
Yeah.
It is impossible to make the decision, really, because like it sounds dramatic to compare it to the Second World War, but this generation and even our parents have never had anything where for a prolonged period of time the economy and the health of people is threatened by something in such a pervasive manner.
Yeah.
And to not say anything about it at all would be like having a soap set during World War II where they didn't mention the fact that there was a war going on, because you'd be like, what are you doing?
I mean, some characters on Coronation Street are defined by having lived through the war, like Percy Sugden, for example, and it makes you think that there will be people that this crisis that we're going through is going to define many people's lives.
People's lives are being changed now, and they will continue to be changed.
Yeah.
The only thing, how about, maybe this is a weird idea, but how about Coronation Street? We know the time is weird, passes strangely in Coronation Street land. Every day follows on from the next, but there's no weekends, and there's things only ever happen on Monday, Wednesday and Fridays. Yeah. How about time almost gets suspended and they continue to live their lives like it's March until we get to the end of this, or we can see the end of the light at the end of the tunnel, and then there's just a big time jump. And then we jump forward in time and find out what happened during the crisis in some flashbacks. Maybe a character or two has died.
Yeah, maybe
somebody's gone bankrupt.
I just don't know.
But that's going to happen. Yeah. People are going to die. People are going to go bankrupt. People are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, as fascinating as it would be, because this is something new. There's not been a story about a pandemic on Coronation Street before. Honestly, I think that they should not touch it. But if I don't know, how long can they not touch it? If the situation doesn't get better quickly, it's going to seem more and more ridiculous.
Yeah,
but then also, if it's not getting better, then they're not filming, are they? Because there's priorities.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be taken off the air. I mean.
Yeah,
is this gonna scupper plans for the 60th anniversary?
No, I really hope not. But at the moment, I can't see how it's not affecting it already.
It must do, because I mean, there are already going to be fewer episodes this year than there were originally planned to be.
Yeah.
By how many, we don't know.
No.
And because something like the 60th would have been planned out so meticulously,
well, we
they
know
would
that
have known exactly what.
It
yeah.
August last year, they were talking.
Yeah, we would have known. They would have known this is how long we've got to lead up to whatever's going to happen on the 60th. So that's going to mean maybe stories will feel rushed. Maybe there'll be some stories that will be dropped completely. I don't know whether there'll be stories that will be half going, and then they'll just stop and they won't get picked up again. You just don't know. But it's not really what you want when you're filming when you're preparing for a landmark anniversary year, is it?
No, but everyone's got to do with things that they rise to the challenge and do extraordinary things. And
I absolutely trust them to do as best a job they can.
And we are going to give them a automatic 5 out of 5. No, I'm not going to patronise them. If it's rubbish, we'll say.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but perspective makes you say,
yeah, exactly.
It could be worse.
We're lucky that we've just got some Coronation Streets at all, and we've just got our 70s DVD, so we've got enough classic episodes to keep us going. It's still going on ITV3.
Other people are stockpiling toilet rolls. We're stockpiling old episodes of Coronation Street. So
yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder, will they put like repeats on? I don't know at the moment what's going to be airing at 8:30 Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, but I think that could be quite cool if they put classic Coronation Streets on, and they could say, well, it's the 60th anniversary.
They've already got classic, which is in the 90s now.
Yeah.
They should just start showing it from the beginning.
It'd be really cool if they did something, and they're going to need something to fill it, and TV shows don't just materialise out of thin air, so I'm guessing there will be some kind of repeat on there, and
We're going to be
why not
watching
make
old
it Coronation Street?
crap on telly for a long time now.
Yeah, because there are so many programmes across the board that have suspended filming, haven't there? Everything's been delayed now, and we're just going to have to suck it up, so... Yeah, old Corrie's in that slot would be pretty cool.
It's like the writer's strike.
Do you think that... I wonder... it is a bit like that. Because I wonder if they did have to stop filming Coronation Street and they ran out of Coronation Streets to show, would they then put repeats on? I can see them not putting them on for now, but... Do you think that they would ever want there to be a time when there was no Coronation Street?
I don't think they could get away with doing primetime repeats of old Coronation Street episodes because no one would watch it.
You think?
No one's going to be tuning in at 7:30 on a Wednesday evening to watch what Raquel's doing.
I would.
People have already seen it.
Yeah. I wonder whether they...
It'd be nice if they did care, but I think that it would be a brave person to schedule that, but nobody would. I think there's an argument to be made that people like and need nostalgia and comfort in times like this. If I was in charge of scheduling TV now, I'd be getting the old episodes of comedy classics out of the bin and sticking them on. Really old British comedy shows that people loved when they were on the first time. They'll be lapping it up.
I wonder whether Coronation Street could like film some one-off episodes with a tiny cast, like day in the life of Jenny or something.
Well, that's what I was saying about like the self-filming, like they could have an episode. There was an episode of Modern Family where it was all just done from one of the characters' computers where she was trying to like FaceTime people and looking on her documents and going through photos and looking at social media and stuff. They could do something like that.
Yeah.
But why? That's the question. What for what purpose? To fill time. Like, do they
keep that advertisers' money coming in because
what are their The thing is, the advertising slots. The argument is to be made here that the slots have to be filled with something, and people are not going to stop advertising on television because of this. In fact, you could argue that the slots become more valuable because people are at home watching television more than they ever would do, and they're watching it in families, and they're not necessarily, mum and dad and the kids aren't all necessarily going to want to watch a Netflix series because they might not be able to agree on it. Yeah. Stuff like light, fluffy entertainment stuff is probably going to be more popular now. And they'll be able... The slots are going to be filled with something.
Yeah. I wonder, I'd be interested to know, like, if Coronation Street did go off the air completely, what they would do to bring it back, because there have been, like, I think, like you mentioned before, a couple of times in the past where Corrie has gone off air. It was a long time ago. I mean, there were the strikes in the early 60s, like we've talked about recently on the podcast when we've been watching the episodes. They had like the equity strike when there was about 14 cast members for about 6 months or so. And I don't think, it doesn't seem like Coronation Street could possibly go down to 14 cast members now. There are so many. There'll be more than that ready. So they've shown that it is possible, but maybe with a smaller number of cast. But then also they had... there's been strikes where we talked about this recently when the Ogdens moved into the show. There were 2 episodes that were scripted and rehearsed but never filmed because of a strike, and it just carried on as if it had happened, but they didn't show it. And then in 1979, that was the biggest one. There was a break between the 8th of August and the 24th of October, where there was no Coronation Street at all for those couple of months, and then when it did come on, there was a special prologue to an episode filmed with Bette and Len talking about what's been going on recently. Well, just to catch the viewers up, would they have something like that again? But what that did do, because I had to look on Corriepedia last night to see what did they do about the time jump, they completely ignored it, because basically in the last episode in August, Deirdre gets a letter from Ray Langton, and then the next episode in October, she tells Ken what it says. So they just kind of make it look like they all, had they were frozen, a little sleep for a few months.
I mean, you can imagine, like, because the 60th is in December, and people are talking about this like it's gonna be over in the summer, but I think that's very wishful thinking. I can imagine. Anyway, I don't want to be scaremongering, but imagine if they just stopped it, but then they brought it back for the 60th, and the 60th was like, we jump into the action of what was going to be happening in the 60th.
But you just feel like you missed the build-up.
But you said, yeah, I know, but you said, how could they bring it back? Bringing it back for the 60th seems like a really good jumping off point. The other thing, medical obviously research is ongoing as we speak, and one of the big things that they think that they've done now is to find a test that will tell you if you've had it or not. And they still think that if you've got it, you're unlikely to get it a second time, because you build up an immune response.
Yeah.
So in theory, if they manage to produce these tests, it's possible that they could identify a group of cast and crew who have already contracted and gotten over COVID-19, and they can safely continue in their jobs.
That's very true.
Working and producing new episodes. That would limit the stories. They'd probably have to chuck everything out that they've written and start whole new stories with characters that would probably had no reason to be in each other's lives. I quite like the
sound of that, to be honest. I think it gives an opportunity for some real creativity from the writers, and the storyline is why on earth does Dr. Gaddas want to have a storyline with Dev?
Yeah, exactly. And we also don't know if there are any Matt Damons around. If you've seen Contagion, you'll know Matt Damon was immune to the horrible disease that was in that one.
It's all right, everybody. It's Dolly Rose Campbell. You got Gemma, wall-to-wall Gemma. You know your favourite character.
All fine. So, and the other thing, good point, Michael. To segue into this, children seem to be unaffected, or the very light symptoms. Could we have 2 months of Coronation Street just the kids?
Oh my gosh! Right, it'd be like Muppet Babies at the Coronation Street version.
Yeah.
Blimey.
So there are it's not all doom and gloom. There are possibilities like medical breakthroughs. We're not going to get a vaccine for a long time, but
we know more about it every day.
Yes.
So look on the bright side there, at least. As long as best they can, the Coronation Street cast and crew and production team and everyone are kept safe and healthy.
I mean, that's
the most important thing.
That's my very slightly first priority. It's only slightly more important than more Coronation Street. It is just a little bit more important, because if they all die, then there's definitely no more Coronation Street.
Exactly. We'll just have to make it ourselves.
Well, we could.
And hopefully through all of this, we'll be able to keep the podcast going as well. Like I said at the beginning, we will, providing that we are still fit and healthy, we'll keep it going. But, if Coronation Street goes off air for an extended period of time, there'll only be so much that we can talk about. We'll just have to really go to town and do special episodes just about episodes from the the 1970s DVDs that we're watching. I don't know how many people would still be interested to watch that, but to listen to that, bring you
fluffy nonsense every week as long as we can. Don't worry about it.
We can promise that. We'll do our best to bring you a load of nattering away. Maybe not 4 hours a week if Coronation Street goes off the air, but we'll do what we can, because everybody needs a bit of a break.
Yeah.
And there's somewhere that they can switch off from all of this, which is why we hopefully aren't going to be talking about the coronavirus on the main podcast unless we really, really have to now.
It really isn't my ambition to not talk about it. Only because I've got other podcasts that I listen to and they are talking about it, and even just talking about it to say that they're not going to talk about it is too much talking about it.
Yeah, because you can forget about it sometimes, can't you? Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I'll be sitting there watching TV and then it pops into my head what we're going through, and it's like, oh bloody hell, is this real? I know. Like, you have these. It's like when you wake up in the morning and you're ill or whatever, and you forget that you're ill for a while, and then it's like, then it all comes back to you. I just want to forget about it. Yeah,
we're going to forget about it from now on. This is the last, hopefully, time we have to mention about it. Maybe if we need to talk about it again, we can do a little little extra podcast update. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll just take it.
We will see. I mean, the only other thing that I can think of, like how it's going to affect the podcast, is whether we're going to get up to Manchester this year.
I know,
because we had plans this year to do some stuff in Manchester, and I do not know whether that's going to happen. Even things like the Soap Awards, I don't think that's been officially cancelled yet. But I mean, if it's
people
following
keep
suit with
putting
everything
events
else,
off
it will
and
do,
like
won't it?
changing events from like April and saying they're going to happen in July. I think they're crazy if they think they're going to have a big event in July. Unless there's a massive breakthrough and we can identify what it is, who are the people that get really sick with it, like, and who are not going to get any symptoms, and who's had it already, etc. It doesn't seem worth the risk.
I know. Well,
there are certain things that
together.
are like the risk and the outcome seems in equilibrium. Like at the moment, it seems like as long as they take sensible precautions and keep an eye on everybody, it seems like cautiously carrying on with recording seems like a good idea. But that can change.
Yeah.
That can change.
Yeah. Right, I think that will do for this special.
We got our hands on a nice. How can we say that's great?
Coronation Street's been really good this week.
Oh, yeah,
I've been really enjoying it this week.
Have you been enjoying
Monday
it,
and
everybody?
Wednesday.
Monday and
I hope
Wednesday
the Fridays
is
going to be good.
We just think if that was only like 3 episodes, then that would be a pretty good week.
But I'd be left thinking, what was the middle of Wednesday's one? I can't even remember what happened now.
Plate drop, probably.
Yeah, maybe it was the plate drop. I can't remember now. But we will see, won't we, everybody?
We can't do anything else.
No. And I hope we haven't depressed you listening to this, but we did warn you right at the beginning. Don't listen if you get too depressed by it.
Yeah,
you're safe to listen to the rest of the podcast anyway.
That's why we did it all in one go.
Exactly. Get it out of the way. That's it, I think.
What can we say? Wash your hands. Sing. What do you sing?
I don't. I just roughly time 20 seconds.
Because we both came home from the shop at the same time yesterday, and I was washing my hands in the sink in the kitchen, and you wash your hands in the bathroom. You were definitely washing them longer than I was.
Oh, good. I'm safer than you.
And I sing Happy Birthday, but I sing it to myself.
I wonder how long the Conversation Street theme tune is. How can you hum that to yourself for 20 seconds?
How does it go?
Do-do-do.
I don't know why I'm...
You're not timing it.
No, I'm just rubbing my hands together.
Right, come on.
Hang on.
What?
So what I was going to say is, I wash my hands, I sing Happy Birthday, but I always get distracted. And then I get to the bit where you have to say to insert name here, and I sing it to myself, and I'm thinking, when by the time I get to my birthday, I'm not going to hate this song. I think we need to change it.
If you're washing your hands and singing Happy Birthday and you want to know who to sing it to, then listen to the bit at the beginning of the podcast where Gemma reads out which Coronation Street cast members have got birthdays this week, and sing it to them.
Yeah, why don't you?
It'd be like your own little tribute.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Nice
Nice
ending.
But right, thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back this weekend with our normal episode.
Yeah,
hopefully very, very positive and lovely. But until then, goodbye for now.